Everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Yep. It ain't gonna work.
Folks, I'm K.A. Owens. I'm on the board of directors of the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. This is our Sunday media event that we do around police issues connected to Breonna Taylor and sometimes some other issues. So I'm going to start off today by talking about, just briefly, noting that there's going to be $300,000 worth of extra security provided for Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron because of threats to his safety. As far as we know, there will be $0 of extra security for Louisville Metro Police Department Chief Yvette Gentry after threats from members of the Fraternal Order of Police. So we just wonder why the disparity, why there's the threats by the FOP against former members of the FOP against Chief Gentry are taken less seriously. Now, going to the FOP contract, the best thing we could do for retention of high quality city employees, and the best thing we could do for all city employees, is to return to defined benefit pensions instead of 401ks. We need to stop cutting taxes on corporations and the wealthy, pay into the public employee pension plans, and allow people to retire with dignity and not have to work until they die. Without a defined benefit pension, there is no reason for an employee to not leave for a job that pays a few dollars more. Now, as far as the new FOP contract that has been agreed upon between the mayor's administration and the city, work needs to be done. I mean, on it before it goes any further. As I understand it, there's a kind of a pause on the new contract at Metro Council. According to all research, there are at least 6 categories of problematic language in the FOP contract that don't benefit the people of the city of Kentucky. So definitely more work needs to be done on that. As far as the Breonna Taylor grand jury, we still feel that some sort of provision needs to be made to allow former grand jurors to come forward and report on what actually occurred during the grand jury process. Now, if they, and that's up to Judge Annie O'Connell, if they can't release every single thing that was said and done, at least they should be able to come forward and state whether or not they believe Attorney General Cameron's presentation or statement was accurate, and whether or not Attorney General Cameron performed adequately within the grand jury chambers. I do want to bring up Greg Titchener for Louisville Showing Up for Racial Justice for a brief comment on the FOP contract.
Good morning, Greg Titchener, G-R-E-G-T-I-C-H-E-N-O-R. I'm a representative with Louisville Showing Up for Racial Justice on the Kentucky Alliance Board. And I just wanted to take a quick minute to thank Councilwoman Paula McCraney for stepping up. I'm so glad to have a representative I can be proud of, and calling out the rest of the council for being tone deaf, because that's what it is. You're trying to rush through a new police contract that would restrict civilian review, would restrict layoffs, and that's the last thing we need right now. And just because we've kicked the can down the road to January doesn't mean we're not going to be watching it. So, thank you.
I'd like to bring up co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance, Shamika Parrish Wright.
Good afternoon. I start these days making a daily post. Okay. Thank you. I am sure.
Right in front of your face. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's try this again. Today is day 144 days that we have been here at Injustice Square Park. Just like my co-board member Greg Titchener mentioned Paula McCraney, I also want to mention Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey, who is my council person, who has stepped up and said something about this contract and why this is not the time. We're in limbo for justice for Breonna Taylor, and LMPD should be in limbo the way we are. How can we have and go on with business as usual when we have justice that hasn't been served? We know that right now our mayor can still fire those officers. We know that right now our new interim chief, Yvette Gentry, can still fire those officers. She hasn't done that yet, and I respect her leadership as a black woman, and I know that she is given it due process, and I want to give her an opportunity to do what's needed with that police department. We know that she has 6 months. We all know that this fight is going to take much longer. We've already been out here for almost 6 months. We've been attacked by everyone that works for that system. We've been attacked and treated as we are rioting and looting every day, when every day we're asking for justice for Breonna Taylor. Today is a very special day. Today, right now, as we speak here, our white allies are gathering to march here for a white ally family reunion. This is important because our white allies have been under attack a lot. They've been dying across our nation at these actions. They've been putting their bodies on the line. And now as we go upon holiday season, they will have to go home and face the families, their families. The hardest battle is fixing what's at home first. And I can't imagine what those conversations are like. But I want our white allies to know that you have a family right here. That white fear is what got us here. Letting the police run this city is what's gotten us here. And we are taking our power back in every way we can, on every level. We're not just right here with our fist in the air. There's policy behind us. There's leaders behind us. There's elected officials behind us. We have Breonna's law that we need passed so that everyone in the state of Kentucky can know that we who pay for our police, we who asked our police to enforce our laws, we expect them to do it first. They broke the law. They killed a young black woman on March 13th, and they have yet to apologize. Judge Mary Shaw signed those warrants. We need that process to be overhauled. It should be randomly done so that they can't choose the weakest link to sign 5 death warrants in 12 minutes. We want that process to be recorded, just like we are being recorded right now, just like when you walk into that courthouse, everything you do is recorded. But that process wasn't. We don't know what Judge Mary Shaw was thinking. We don't know if they were talking about golfing while they were signing death warrants for Breonna Taylor. We know we want that process to be overhauled. Monday and Tuesday, we have 350 protesters that are going to court. 350 protesters. Right now, Attorney Ted Schaus and Attorney Courtney Kellner are right now discussing how we're going to make sure we have enough people to stand up for the protesters who came out here, who put their bodies on the line because we want justice for Breonna Taylor. So we ask that if you can't join us on the streets, if you can't join us in those courtrooms, we ask that at home you contact Councilman Yates and you ask him to do what he can to call a public session, a public hearing on this contract. We ask that you call on our mayor to fire those officers. We don't care if we get sued. We're already paying for them every way. We ask that everybody do their part. We ask that County Attorney Tom Wine, Commonwealth Attorney Tom Wine, call for a special prosecutor because we're not done and we have not seen justice. What happened with Attorney General Cameron was for the white neighbors of Breonna Taylor. So we need white people to be out here more than ever. We need you out here. We need you with us. But join us today as we break bread. This is a new family. This is a new family built on justice. We want you on the right side of history. With that, I want to invite Millie here to talk about BUT Strong. It's one of the organizations that's been formed out of the work that we've been doing at Justice Square. It's our young people. And we know that right now they're looking for a way to put RICO charges on us. But I tell you, LMPD needs RICO charges for all the abuse, for the sexual assaults, for the continued terrorism that they inflict on us. They are the ones who deserve those charges. But Millie has been amazing and one of the young leaders that has stepped up, and we want to give her an opportunity to share about the mission of BUT Strong. Welcome, Millie.
Hello, everyone. I am Millie Martin, Milly, Martin, Martin, with BUT Strong. Currently, BUT Strong has began a community policing within the California neighborhood. It's a little discouraging with LMPD at the moment, so we've had to take matters into our own hands and make sure that our residents are safe within our community. We do not have any policing or patrolling in our neighborhood, so we have decided that we were going to do what we have to do as a community. We have currently 16 young adults between the ages of 19 and 24 that is doing everything that they can do to make sure that things that or matters that the police department should be handling but are not. I don't know if they're not handling them because they are in their feelings about what we have been doing for the past 144 days, or if they just don't have enough patrols. I was in a press conference last week and I mentioned that, they say that because of protesting, we've had 100 and almost 35 murders, but it looks to me as if the only police department that has been responding is the 1st Division. So it's a little concerning about the other police departments and what they have been doing. Nevertheless, we are taking it upon ourselves to make sure that our community is safe in a way in which we have peacekeepers who are not officers of the law, who are going to intentionally break the law, but instead are going to make sure that the people that they live with every single day are safe. And so any way that you would like to get in contact with me, you can reach me on Facebook. We do have a BUT Strong page. It's B.U.T. Strong on Facebook. Or my personal Facebook, Milly, JAHMILLY, Martin, MARTIN. I would also like to say that even after 144 days, we are in no agreement of stopping. We will continue to work towards not only the justice that Breonna Taylor and her family deserves at this point, but also the justice that this city needs as a total. We have been pushed around, we have been beat, we have been stung, and no justice has come from it. They've actually only made it worse for us. So I thank you all. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up Rhonda Mathis.
Rhonda Mathis, RHONDA MATHIES, community activist. The seasoned revolutionary elders have been involved in the anti-racist justice struggle for decades. They have been a fundamental source of learning, inspiration, and leadership in the revolution. They are inspired by the continuation of the work from this generation. The seasoned elders want to continue their support in the elder circle with their presence at Breedway at Injustice Square, building on the beloved community. The chain goes unbroken. Justice, equality, freedom is a constant struggle. They will be meeting here on Mondays and Thursdays at 12 noon if weather permits, and ask all other elders who can't walk as fast or talk as loud to join them to be present with the young people as they continue the fight for equality, justice here at Breonna Square. Also, that who has been a presence here, and I'm working with Reverend Russell Awkward, and Bishop Lyons, who's been down here, who have walked around Breonna's Square at 7 times to make the wall of oppression come tumbling down, who have brought full food, have participated in the marches. We are organizing some church buses specifically to go to the African American Heritage Center in remembrance of our ancestors who paid the price, who, if you remember Freedom Summers, that all across the country people got on buses and lost their lives because of the right to vote. We want African Americans to keep that in mind, to come to the African American Heritage Center, and we're going to be meeting at Reverend Aqua's bus, and the details will be forthcoming as far as to get on the bus and use your right, use your vote as your voice, so we can make a change in this community and across the country, because we have to get rid of Mitch and that virus that we have up in Washington. So together in unity, we can make a change. We have to be the change that we want to see in building on our beloved community.
I'd like to bring up members of the People's Agenda. First, I'd like to bring up Thacker.
Hello, my name is actually Isaac Marion Thacker IV, otherwise and to most people known as Ike Thacker. And I promise in these brief remarks to make every effort not to engage in any flapdoodle. That's a new word I learned the other day. It means nonsense. I usually give titles to things I write, and this one, for lack of epiphany-like inspiration, is just called the JCPS tax, which is my main topic, really, Black Lives and the World. I've been involved in these kinds of things for a long time, having been a writer, proofreader, and sometimes co-editor for Forsooth, the newspaper of the Louisville chapter of the Fellowship of Reconciliation since late 2001, and on the executive boards of the Alliance, the sponsor of this event, the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, since about 2008 or 2008 or 2009. From 2012 to 2016, I was the recording secretary for them, and I was a co-chair, one of 3 co-chairs from 2016 until early this year, which at that time was really more like being a vice chair. I promise, honest, that other than caffeine and nicotine, that's my only vice. And wanted to just jump right on in here and start in on what I hope, on a speech that I hope is persuasive. There have been many agendas followed in our beautiful city, our beautiful state, our between shining seas beautiful nation, and our beautiful beyond any words but desperately endangered planet in the past few millennia, centuries, decades, and years. Let's see, for the past 40 years or so, roughly since government came to be viewed by most of the powerful as problem rather than solution, there's been the business agenda, the lily white agenda, the business agenda, the lily white agenda, the business agenda, the lily white agenda. Well, you get the idea. We, the kind of, you would call us, I guess, the ad hoc decision-making council for the Coalition for the People's Agenda's Education Committee, believe this. Now, with what Reverend Dr. King called the fierce urgency of now, it is time to follow the people's agenda. The people's agenda, indeed. Locally, we, a much more inclusive we here, tried to get Louisville Metro on what we believed and believe is a better path at an earlier local turning point at the very advent of Louisville Metro, when Louisville and the rest of Jefferson meant to be a roadmap for the fledgling government to follow. The People's Agenda, which is our main topic here, the 3 of us here, was divided by the coalition that created it into 8 issue areas: civil and human rights, community governance, criminal justice system and citizen protection, economic development through community empowerment, education and youth empowerment, environmental protection, public health and human services, housing, and workers' rights. Within each of these areas, several specific actions that, taken together, were the People's Agenda were listed. They range from prohibiting all forms of discrimination, to increasing voter participation, to creating a civilian police review board way back then. and shifting the focus in dealing with drug and mental health crimes from incarceration to treatment, to creating jobs and supporting neighborhood organizations. Details were aplenty. There were more than 30 specific actions that were called for. But the guiding vision, another community is possible, declared those 50 groups: heal, restore, and transform. And the vision statement that fleshed those powerful ideas out a bit pretty well sum up the glorious community-wide renaissance hoped for. Here is that vision statement. We, the Coalition for the People's Agenda, look forward to the day when our governing bodies represent all the people of the community, particularly those individuals and groups that have been traditionally marginalized and historically underserved, when the culture in which we live, work, learn, and play is socially and economically just, and when all peoples, regardless of age, color, disability, economic status, race, gender, national origin, religion, or social orientation, are treated with equality and fairness. Fast forward. Louisville in recent months, and this event is just one small part of this, or I should say Louisville's people have, as you all know, made great strides towards making Louisville the beacon of light and hope for other cities or even states, nations, and the world that it always should have been. One sign I saw while rallying with some 3,000 other, what you might call dreamers, people who dream big, at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, strangely September 5th this year, said, "Sorry for the inconvenience in disturbing your derby, we're changing the world." This is exactly what we are about in this second major turning point in 18 years for our beloved city. We are entering a new era, and a great place to start, or should I say continue remaking our world, is with Louisville's school system, Jefferson County Public Schools, or JCPS. JCPS actually has been a fairly bright beacon all along by continuing to pursue interracial, above all, intercultural and interclass diversity and equity within its purview long after almost all other major U.S. cities had given up. The specific question before us, and this is the main topic that we're here to talk about today, but the Coalition for the People's Agenda is important enough that I thought you would want some background, and you may hear more about that you will hear more about that in coming weeks. But the specific question that we want to talk about today, as a community, is whether we as a community are willing to pay a little less than $9 a month more than we do now in property tax for the funding of mostly equity and facilities initiatives in Jefferson County Public Schools called JCPS. It comes in the form of a new tax of 7 cents on each $100 of property value, which means $70 per $100,000. And since the average house in Jefferson County is just under $150,000, we're talking $105 a year. We answer the question of, is that worth $9 a month, with an emphatic yes. Again, $105 a year, to reemphasize, comes to less than $9 a month, or about the cost of 2 Big Macs and maybe a small soft drink. I, and we as a group, say that that's a real bargain. First of all, JCPS needs money. Second, it's a bargain specifically for black and brown students, since JCPS Superintendent Marty Polio at least plans to spend about 3/4 of the $50 to $54 million the tax would generate annually on equity issues specifically, and to make building needed West Louisville schools the top priority, in spending the other 25%, which is set to be spent on facilities. This will be a tremendous boon for the 55% or so of JCPS students who are not white. Never are we likely to have a better opportunity than now for JCPS for such a tax to have a good effect. Children, thank God, now being educated multiculturally, are our future. When they mingle with kids of different classes, cultures, and skin pigment levels than their own routinely, the lessons learned last lifetimes. Enough said. Equality, equality. Yes, we can, and viva the 99%. And again, my name is Ike Thacker. That's IkeThacker. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jumana Hightower, JUMANAH, and I'm here today to speak about the tax increase for JCPS. Another member of this committee, Olivia Bowler, we're both students of JCPS, and we would like to speak about how these schools have no funding, and as much as we want this tax increase, we want it to go for good reasoning, and we want to trust Gay on this. We don't trust JCPS, and we would like tax increase on this school system so that we can have more funding, more programs, and want this money to go for good use.
My name is Gay Adelman. Sorry, let's try that again. My name is Gay Adelman. I am the chair of the Decision-Making Council for the Education Committee for the Coalition for the People's Agenda. And the Decision-Making Council is an ad hoc committee that was formed for the purpose of evaluating the demands that have been set forth by the Coalition, the Education Committee, and determining, it's a 17-member committee that determined the yes, or to vote yes or no in support of this tax increase, and our vote was finalized last evening. Of the 17 members, 13 were in favor and 4 were still opposed, and that just demonstrates that we still have work to do. We support the district in moving forward with this tax increase, but we also know that the district needs to continue to demonstrate and work in good faith to meet the demands of the Education Committee. And those demands, I have a card. I would like to hand these out as soon as this is over. We have some things over here in the corner. This card demonstrates what those demands were. They came from work that had been done by the Coalition and through the Education Committee over the past several years. Many of these demands have been in development, but this is a window of opportunity that we need to seize. And so the demands are spelled out. EARN is the acronym, Earn the People's Vote. The first one is an evaluation of this current student assignment plan. This is the map of the high school student assignment plan. Our superintendent has acknowledged that this plan is structurally racist. It takes students who live in West Louisville and buses them away from their community to schools around the county, and it doesn't do any busing in the reverse direction. So the way that we achieved our integrated schools that Ike mentioned is by placing all of the burden of diversity on our families in the West End. And so we have a challenge for JCPS to flip the script. We want to see equity in our student assignment plan. That is that is E. We needed the evaluation of the student assignment plan in order to identify where those needs are and what steps would be necessary in order to flip the script. So we gave them a yellow on the red, green, and yellow stoplight because they did hold a committee meeting and conducted a REAP. That stands for Racial Equity Analysis Protocol. They conducted a REAP on the student assignment plan, and now we just need it to be presented to the community so that we can talk about the changes that need to take place before they vote. And there is a proposal to make some changes to the student assignment plan already on the table. So that is another reason why this window is now, this opportunity is now. But the only way that they can pay for the buildings that they need to build, because they bus students away from the West End, they've allowed these schools that are in the West End to become dilapidated or closed permanently. So in order for students to have the same opportunity to attend a quality school close to home, we have to first build schools. And we have allowed all of our facilities district-wide to become dilapidated, not just in the West End. And so in order to be able to pay for those schools, we have to raise our credit limit, essentially, our ability to borrow. So that's the tax increase allows us to raise that borrowing capacity, and so that is why we're encouraging people to vote yes on the tax increase, and then help us continue to put pressure on the district to meet the rest of our demands. We also, for EARN, A was an anti-racist budget, which is essentially the divest invest conversation that you're hearing nationwide. We want to see evidence that they are adjusting our budget in that direction, and we actually gave them a green in that area because they did acknowledge some of our requests word for word in the superintendent's address at the September 29th board meeting when they passed the budget, and we see that as a demonstration of good faith that they are still listening and responding. And this is a big one. The third one, the R, is a resolution. We want to see the board. We have a 7-member elected board that represents all of Jefferson County. We want to see that board pass a resolution in support of this movement, in support of the people's agenda, in support of keeping a seat open at the table for this continued dialogue and this ongoing conversation. It's a working document and it continues to evolve and grow, and we would like for the district to pass a resolution that supports, that recognizes the disparities and the harms and the disproportionalities that have existed for decades in our district, and chart a path to make those reparations, to make the restoration that the people's agenda has called for. And currently we have 2 board members that have been coming to our meetings and supporting us. So 2 out of the 7 have indicated support. There are 2 more seats running right now, contested seats, and these 2 candidates have also indicated support. So this coming election, we have an opportunity to change the board makeup and actually get more of this implemented. So in addition to supporting the tax increase, we encourage people to vote for Jody Hurt in District 2 and Sarah McIntosh in District 7. And on the back side of another card we have over here, we just have some information about Ditching Mitch and some other suggested candidates. And there are some write-in candidates that we are encouraging people to vote for as well. So please stop by and pick up that information from us as well. And you know, Breonna Taylor graduated from JCPS. So this is ground zero. Louisville, Kentucky is ground zero for the movement for Black lives, in particular the movement for female Black lives. And we are telling our community to divest from policing and divest from harmful practices and invest in education and community supports and healthcare and the things that we as taxpayers and as stakeholders in this community want to see in our district. So divest from policing, invest in public education, and let's continue to hold our district and leaders accountable. Thank you. And here's a copy of the press release.
Oh, I just want to note that the Kentucky Alliance, of course, we do not endorse political candidates. So I want to bring back up Shamika Parrish-Ryan, is co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance, for a few closing words.
I'm glad that KA said that because they're constantly watching and waiting for us to make mistakes. I must tell you all before I give the announcements that just like Breonna was sought out of, like they were going into her home because they assumed that drugs and money was there, they are trying to find a way to close down our activities at this park. They are trying to say that we are a part of a drug cartel. That is a lie. And if the new interim police chief is okay with that, I have a big problem with that, with her as a Black woman. We are here because of over-policing. We are here because they have constantly attacked us. And you can't take what one person does. We talk about this good apple and bad apple. They say the whole police force isn't bad because the Explorer program, you have them raping children, LMPD. You have all of these things that happen, the 9th Division, all these atrocities, all of this violence. And then yet again, you have 135, what did you say, Millie? 135 murders she talked to us about. She met with us as the chair of the Kentucky Alliance. She met with myself, Dre Dawson, and Tyra Walker, and she talked about how they have hundreds of hours of footage, what they see, what looks like some drug deals happening near this park. I said, tell me a neighborhood that drugs isn't being sold in. Tell me a community where drugs isn't a problem. We have not condoned people selling drugs. We are not a drug cartel. We are a coalition of people against police brutality. We are KAARPR, Citizens Against Police Brutality. That's why we're here. Police abuse. That's why we're here. So on Thursday, we're having a national march because there's a national day against police brutality. That's there for a reason. If you go to October22nd.org, you'll see thousands of names of people who've been killed by the police. They're, again, in the wake of what happened to Breonna Taylor, they're still trying to use drugs and drug money as a way to shut down justice. We will not have that. We will not have it. We will stand here. We will stand here strong. They are embarrassed. We're in the middle of their capital for a reason. We're in the middle of city government for a reason. Our mayor's hall is right there. We're going to keep it in his front porch because he still can fire those officers. Our city council meets there. They still can do something with that collective bargaining agreement and stop the police from running our city. Our Hall of Justice is right here. Our Department of Corrections is right there. Every time the mayor came out to talk to us in the park, the 8 times he came out was from those buildings behind us. Those same buildings that they use to surveil us constantly. They don't talk about that we spent thousands of dollars on the local businesses around here. They don't talk about that we spent thousands of dollars in the hotels surrounding here, putting homeless people in those hotel rooms so they can get rest, so they can sleep. They don't talk about the thousands of people we feed a week. They don't talk about the care we've been giving people. They don't talk about the fact that people have gotten their 30, 60, and 90-day sobriety tokens after meeting our medics. Our medics who have been attacked, who've been abused by the police, still show up to give care that our city government does not do. They don't talk about that. And now I hear this news that they want to clear this park and they want to use this as a DEA investigation. That called bull on that. I call bullshit. I tell this chief, focus on justice. Focus on justice for Breonna Taylor and stop attacking us for speaking up about injustices that your police department does every day. Right now, somebody is probably being harassed by LMPD. LMPD is guilty, and they don't want to answer to that. So they want to say that we are part of a damn drug cartel. That's just as much as a lie as Representative Scott and myself and others burning a damn library. They keep trying to lie on us. We are a gun-toting state. They left us open here. They left us open here. They want people to shoot at us. They don't come out when these racist, angry Vikings or these 3%ers, you never see them. But a young white girl decided to put that forever flame out with a bottle of water, and they tackled her. 4 of them tackled a 90-pound young white woman. If I don't tell you all that this is war, if you don't understand that they play the long game, they can charge us with anything. Well, what can they prove? We are not a drug cartel, but we can prove that LMPD is guilty. We can prove that they are guilty every day of violence, that they molest and rape kids, that they rape their criminal informants, that they pay people to come out of those buildings and come in here to disrupt this park, that they continue to attack us, that they ran a woman over right in front of the Department of Corrections and then shot at us with pepper bullets as we came to help her, that they attacked the leaf blower for blowing the tear gas and the chemical weapons that they inflict on us back at them. They attacked him, and they continue to lie. So if you're sitting at home and you believe their lies and you believe that we are a drug cartel, I ask you to come down here and see what the hell we're doing ourselves. I asked LMPD why we only had 1 murder here and you have over 127 murders and you can't focus on them because you keep attacking us. Answer that. Answer that. And now you want to lie and say that we're a drug cartel, and again you're going to use a black woman's face just like you used Daniel Cameron's black face on these injustices? I'm not buying it. Black, white, or other, I'm not buying it. Whoever is attacking us, you're going to be dealt with, because guess what? We're playing the long game. So you judges that's married to police officers that are out here behind these injustices, we're dealing with you when election day comes. You're going to have 1 term to get it right with our community. We are a community that are together. We are united, and you're trying to attack us with more lies. You went in Breonna's house, and there was no drug money, and there was no drugs. You went in her house with 5 bogus warrants, and you killed her. But you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to even apologize for that. And now, I'm not even against your raises. I want good policing. and we can't have it until there's justice for Breonna Taylor. So I want to say that because it's important for our white allies to know this is why we need you here, because they watch us every day. But when people attack us, they don't come out. When racist people show up with their Trump signs shooting at us, they don't come out. That just happened yesterday. But they want to tell us they're gathering together to run through this park because they are embarrassed. They're embarrassed that we're here. We haven't burnt things down. We're here. We're here saying we want justice, and that is a problem. LMPD, you are guilty. Anybody that's standing with LMPD and not speaking on their injustices, I suggest you get on the right side of history. We have our White Allies family reunion that's at 3 o'clock today. We're still going strong. We're still doing everything that we got to do. And if people really, really are concerned about what we're doing in this park, come and be a part of justice. Email your council people. Email your elected officials. Let them know that you will not stand for this, that LMPD cannot continue to bully us. I am out to water down their endorsement, and any candidate that's taking their endorsement and is allowing this injustices, you got to go as well. Thank you all for being here. We're going to keep being here. Keep checking out our Kentucky Alliance page. Every day we post what we're doing and what's going on. They can't control themselves. They can't police themselves, and they expect us to be police doing their job out here every day. If you're dealing with somebody that's doing some petty situations, go handle that. We're out here for justice. Do not lie on us. Do not call us a drug cartel. That is a bold lie, and I call bullshit. Thank you. Yes.
Anyone who would like to answer. Has anyone looked at or taken a survey from the consulting firm that's looking for community members' input?
Millie, come on. Yes, we've been sharing it too for more people to give insight. But yes, please talk about that.
So I personally had a meeting with Hillard Hines, and the survey was a suggestion just to get a broad kind of idea from everyone on how they personally feel about LMPD, and it also gives questions such as how people feel about the policing that LMPD has been doing in their neighborhood. It literally takes maybe 15 minutes, and that's if you've never seen the survey before. I actually knew kind of what it was going to be asking, so it only took me about 10, but it's 15 minutes. Do I believe that this survey is actually going to change LMPD? No, but it is a way for our voices to be heard, and whoever is on the other end of that survey, hopefully they will use it for good use in getting LMPD to see what it is that their residents feel about them.
Gotcha. Since you have seen the questions, what questions did you feel strongly about and why?
On the survey, the biggest one was, do I feel as though LMPD has been doing a good job as far as community engagement? I personally believe that they have not. Even in the beginning stages of BUT Strong, I've reached out to certain police departments to get assistance with just honestly coming out and engaging with the children in the community. I personally believe by being 28 years old and dealing with LMPD for as long as I have, I am set in stone and not liking them whatsoever. But our children are sitting at home right now, not going to school due to NTI and COVID, and they're listening to no justice, no peace, prosecute police. So their brains is not able to process what's really going on. And reaching out to LMPD and saying, hey, let's have an engagement day for these kids, by you all being a younger police department and not getting the response that you expected, it's kind of heartbreaking. So that was one of the biggest questions for me.
Okay. Anything missing from the survey that you want LMPD and the consulting firm to address?
Not really, because they hit everything. They even asked how many times have you come in contact with them, physical contact, was it good or bad? So everything that I've seen was pretty much it. But then again, like I said, I've seen the survey before. It was, so.
That's pretty much all.
Yeah, thank you.
David wanted to come. Did you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying
Okay.
I have a lot of questions for LMPD.
Okay.
But court might be the more appropriate place.
Okay.
Someone is asking on the live stream, do you know particularly if JCPS has the extra taxes, if passed, allocated to specifically improve West End schools?
Okay. Gay or David want to answer?
You know,
So that is one of the areas where we're pushing for some stronger language. They do have a resolution that they passed that does commit a certain percentage of the resources to high needs facilities, high needs schools. But in the West End, as we know, we don't even have the facilities. So it needs to be more specific, and it needs to specifically state West End and West End schools and black students. And that's why we're calling for the resolution. That would be included in the resolution that we're calling for. Dr. Polio has specifically said in his own words at many, many press conferences and at many, many board meetings that he intends for this to be used to build 2 to 3 new schools in the West End. And we're seeing the community hubs being supported by the district, which may end up transforming education altogether with NTI and COVID and everything that is our new normal. So that is a positive and promising step in the right direction, but we want to see more community input in how those hubs are run and who's staffing those hubs and the curriculum and the protocols that are in place. So there's still a lot of work to do, but we won't get this chance back to pass this tax increase next year or the year after. We'll be kicking the can down the road even further. So this is the time. This is our window of opportunity, and we can't punish the children by withholding badly needed funds because of a district that maybe hasn't always done the best job that they should have or could have. We need to hold the adults responsible, and that means replacing board members, and that means replacing people in the administration who do not stand up for our black students. So does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Is there anybody who can go into a little more detail about what happened last night with the shots fired out here, or does anybody know anything about that?
Trying to see. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, please.
Chef Paul. Thank you. 'Cause I was over here.
Well, last night they was keeping a little fire going so they stay warm, right? Well, I was on process of packing up, leaving, cleaning up, putting my grills away, putting everything away. So the young kids, they said, I asked them, do y'all have somewhere to go? Can y'all go home? Come back tomorrow? Because I'm putting this fire out. I put it out before I left. Okay? They grabbed the grill and started their own fire as I left with the bales of hay and whatever. When I come back this morning, I don't see no bales of hay no more. I see 1 bale left. There was like 6 bales when I left.
And they talking about the guy shoot.
No.
This time the guy that rode and shot.
Yeah, well, when that shooting happened, I don't know what happened, what took place, but this guy had a Trump flag, and they wanted to fire at us, so somebody fired at them, and they took off and didn't come back, and mostly everybody left after that.
What time was that? Do you know?
I don't know, it was around 7 o'clock, 7:30.
Yeah, just before 7.
Would you say that's been a trend out here? I mean, I know
Every day has been some kind of conflict with skinheads, Nazis, Klansmen, whoever you might want to say. Last weekend we had a function and we had a problem. They came shooting at us. Yeah, and we had to shoot back, just defending ourselves. So it's almost every week something's happening. Or every other day some strange people come that we don't even know, not even a part of us.
Could I get your name, please?
Huh?
Your name, please?
Can you say and spell your first and last name?
Paul Gardner.
Can you spell it, please?
PAULGARDNER. I've been out here over 110 days maybe, out of 149 or whatever days we've been here. I've been cooking since I've been here, and I've fed over 30,000 people since I've been here. I've been operated on June 23rd. I was right back out here June 24th. And I'm going to continue to keep feeding people. Whether they're homeless or not homeless. As long as they out here protesting and they hungry, when they come back from marching, I'm going to be here. So everybody's been fed, so people don't want to eat anymore. And all the reverends of the city, I want to thank them all for outreach. They've been supporting me. Every reverend in the city that's been down here been supporting me. They've been bringing me food, donating money, and what have you. And all going right back into the same cause. And I will continue to keep on cooking as long as I got breath in me.
Thank you, Paul. All right, truth is, taking your power back from the police is both beautiful and ugly at the same time. You know that we're asking people to be perfect when we have a police force that has been sworn to protect and serve, that are killing us at every chance that they get, that are constantly breaking the law, and we're asking people to be perfect. And so taking the power back doesn't look the way people think. There's no textbook for this, right? We have not taken our power back. In all the gains we've had in civil rights, we have not been free of police brutality and police violence. We have to deal with that as a country. We have to deal with that united as a city. And the community we built here represents everything that we've been trying to do. It represents the compassion. Everything that comes with our city is right here. Any big city is dealing with all the same issues, including drug activity. But I'm going to tell you, we're not a drug cartel. We're doing just what Chef Paul said. We're feeding people in their souls and their minds, and we're training them, and we're helping them to understand that this is a long fight, and we're in here with them together. We are family. That's why the White Allies are gathering here at 3 o'clock. That's why we have the National Day of Action and March and Rally that's starting here at 4 o'clock on Thursday, October the 22nd. People not just from here, but all over our nation and our world are going to join us, because our police have to answer when they commit these injustices. They have to answer to us. So thank you all.
Shamika, the White Allies are actually gathering right now.
Yeah, I told them that earlier.
Okay.
And they're marching.
They're coming down here.
Yeah.
So I just want to conclude with a reminder that there is an election going on right now, and there are a number of things on the ballot. And if people are watching this and wondering, especially White Allies who are wondering how they can get involved and be part of that change, these last 2 weeks that we have left, we are looking for volunteers to help man the 4 main polling locations and work shifts and hand out the campaign literature that we have. And I would like to add to the comment that was made earlier. Dear JCPS is the lead organization on the coalition. Kentucky Alliance is one of many organizations that have been participating in the coalition. Dear JCPS has the 501c4 and is also working with an unauthorized campaign committee so that all of our endorsements are indeed by the book, because as Shamika did say, they look for anything and everything. So we have been working with attorneys and campaign committees and making sure that we follow all the campaign finance laws, and we are looking for volunteers that can help us distribute that literature. We also have yard signs that you can get. If you go to ilovejcps.com, it will take you to a place where you can order the yard signs, and for free you can pick them up, or for $7.99 we will install them in your yard, no contact installation, and that $7.99 is actually donated back to the organizations whose volunteers do the work. So you're supporting grassroots efforts. We are the organizations that have been holding our leaders accountable across the community. So please continue to support everyone that you see out here doing the work. Thank you.
All right, y'all, that's it. And,
Thanks again.
1 minute to spare on that card, man.
Beautiful.
I know, right? I'm sweating bullets.
Hey, yeah, right.
I got another card. It's empty right there. Exactly. Can we go? I know we're not going to use this anyway, but I can't stop.
Yeah, right.